Thanks for joining me today. This is a special championship opener where two teams who won their respective leagues last season meet. Two teams who might have got promoted earlier than they expected. Birmingham City, of course, romping away with League One, and Ipswich Town sneaking in via the playoffs. But both sets of fans expected to be here this season. And it's great to have you along. Please stay safe wherever you are in the world. Well, it's interesting to note that the Tractor Boys have shipped out 12 players this summer, including their top scorer from last season, Freddie Lada, and there's been a further 6 arrivals. Now, I think this may have something to do with the fact that their squad was already very strong, even when they were playing in League One. They didn't need a big overhaul. They lost a couple of key players like Lada. Of course, they're going to miss him. He scored a hat trick in the playoff final. But as I said, they've brought in 6 new faces. The one that most people are talking about is Manchester United's young striker, Dmani Meller. He's only 19 years old, and he could well be worth keeping an eye on this season. Birmingham City, though, have gone about their business in the transfer window in a rather different manner. For players out, 11 in. You lines get a sense for the ambition of the club when I tell you that their last 3 summer signings were officially announced after 11 o'clock at night. Maybe there was a feeling that it had to be done quickly so the rest of the league wouldn't pinch their targets. Well, maybe not. The gaffer, John Eustace, has done a fantastic job since arriving at the club in October 2021, last season. They were 6th when he took over, and they finished 3rd, gaining promotion via the playoffs. Then, of course, they romped away with the League One title, so he's done a tremendous job. And that was reflected in the new contract he signed at the end of last season. That runs until 2026, so he'll be here for the foreseeable future. Ipswich started brightly enough, almost going ahead inside the opening 10 minutes when Sam Morsey flicked a header just wide of the target from a corner. It was a good start, but that was pretty much it for the visitors in terms of clear-cut opportunities. They looked dangerous on the counter-attack. And in truth, they caused Birmingham problems throughout the 90 minutes. But as I said, they didn't fashion many openings. What became more apparent as the game wore on was how comfortable Ipswich were in possession. And credit to them, they played some neat stuff and moved the ball nicely at times. However, that also gave Birmingham a platform to press high up the pitch and win the ball back. And that's what they did on several occasions during the first half. The danger man for the home side was the former Celtic forward, Kyogo Furuhashi, and he had a couple of chances in the first half. First, he burst through on goal and poked an effort just wide of the upright. And then moments later, he beat the offside trap, but his touch let him down and the chance was gone. Just before the break, both sides picked up a booking inside the space of 60 seconds. For Ipswich, it was Cameron Burgess who clumsily brought down Hannibal Magebury. The Blues midfielder, in my opinion, probably should have seen red, but he was booked, and then Taylor Gardner-Hickman picked up a yellow card for Birmingham for a late challenge on Nathan Broadhead. As I said earlier, the game was end-to-end, but neither side could find a breakthrough. And in truth, the quality wasn't particularly high. We were approaching the hour mark, and the best chance of the game had fallen to Birmingham's Hogan, but he side-footed over from close range. 5 minutes later, though, and the deadlock was broken. And it was the home side who found the net. It was a clever move, and the finish was excellent. Furuhashi weaved his way into the box and chipped a delightful cross towards the far post. It was slightly behind Stansfield, but the forward stretched out a leg and guided the ball past the despairing dive of Christian Walton. It was a fine finish, and it came from a super cross. It was no more than the home side deserved, and they almost extended their lead shortly afterwards. After a quick free kick, Juninho Bakuna drilled a low cross across the face of goal, and Hogan stretched out a boot. But he couldn't quite get enough on it, and the ball flashed across the goalmouth. The next 20 minutes were a little bit scrappy. Both sides committed fouls and the tempo dropped. There was a melee involving players from both teams after a crunching challenge by Broadhead on Oshie, and then Morrissey and Hogan were booked within a minute of each other following a clash of heads. It was heated, it was fiery, but there was still no way back for the visitors. And to their credit, they huffed and they puffed, but they couldn't find a way back into the game. As I said, this was a magnificent season for the home side, and they romped to the title, winning 30 games and drawing 18, scoring 111 goals and conceding just 37. Can they make it to titles in a row? Well, if they continue to perform like this, then I'd say it's a real possibility. This is a difficult one to call because the championship is always a tight division. I think the favorites for the title will be Southampton, Leeds, and Norwich. So I think it's gonna be one of those three, but you never know. Last season, Burnley, who had been tipped for a top to finish, ended up in 7th place. As for the relegated teams, it's hard to look beyond Hull, Stoke, and possibly Rotherham. But again, it's a hard division to predict. As I said at the start, it's great to have you along. Let me know what you think of the result in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed today's coverage, then please stay tuned for more updates. There will be a lot more to come. Thanks for being here today. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and stay safe.